Is called to order. It is now 7 o'clock. I'll ask Councilman Hutto to give our opening prayer.
Let us pray. Our Father and our God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your grace and your mercy. We ask that you continue to shower us with your grace and mercy, that we may do what we came here to do this evening. That is to transact the business of the town for the people of this town. We ask that you be in our midst, guide our tongues and thoughts, that we may do and say those things which are pleasing in your sight. And we have done up all that you have assigned our hands to do. We ask that you give us a safe passage home. These and all other blessings we ask you in Son Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Join me in a salute to the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, you have a copy of tonight's agenda. And please note that it was amended. Make sure you have the copy that says 3/6/2023 at 4:29 p.m. at the bottom. Are there any changes need to be made to the agenda this time? Here none, need a motion to approve. Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Everyone in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Next on the agenda is the approval of the meeting minutes from the February 7th, 2023 regular scheduled council meeting. Are there any changes that need to be made at this time? Hearing none, need a motion to approve. Got a motion? Second. Any further discussion?
No,
Okay.
I thought somebody said it, but.
Yeah, pressing my cough at the same time. So I got a second from Mr. Hancock. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Next on the agenda is persons appearing before council. Who do you have first?
Mr. Griffin is signed
Mr.
up.
Griffin.
I think I'm the only one tonight. Just going over the agenda real quick. I see we're having the first reading of the impact fee. I just want to remind everyone from Adam's statement last month that we cannot consider alternative contracts, if I'm correct, from developers without first passing the impact fee. Am I correct, Adam, on that?
Yes.
You cannot consider contractual alternative funding for impact fees from a developer without first passing the impact fee. So I highly encourage, the chamber endorses it, that the impact fees be passed to first reading, at least tonight. In your executive session, the overlay subdivision ordinance creation, this is something that I have brought before council and the planning commission for 18 months, is the bypass overlay. We are growing and we have a lot of property for sale on the bypass. We're getting calls about it daily. Chesterfield County is getting called about it daily. Part of this development will be on the bypass. So we really need to expedite that so that we can control and monitor and help set some standards for what we want the bypass to look like. I mean, we're going to have hopefully 11 to 1,200 new homes over the next 5 to 10 years. It'd be nice if our bypass was also monitored and, you know, so we have a good look on our bypass for as we grow and not just haphazard put the bypass in. So I encourage you to, I think you have a contractual matter with that tonight. I highly encourage you to handle that contractual matter and get the subdivision and the overlay ordinance created and passed as soon as possible.
Thank you. Who else do you have? Anybody else?
No one else signed up.
Anybody else? I'll give about 30 more seconds to make sure we give everybody an opportunity to speak.
Last month, it was so hot.
public, person appearing before the council, I'll remind the public that if you have any questions, comments from here on through the meeting, hold those to the end of the meeting and we'll address those accordingly. All right, next on the agenda is first reading of ordinance 474 impact fee study. Mr. Sly.
All right, the ordinance 474, the impact fee study. This is the impact fee study ordinance that was written by the attorney with Hainsworth Sinclair Boyd. We've made a couple changes since the one that was in your packet. A couple places there where it said before a CO will be issued, it now says before a building permit will be issued by the county. The other item, the one item that I'm gonna need some information on, and there's one other place that's gonna need updating. On the very front page there at the bottom where it says December 26, 2022, there is an updated one from March the 6th, 2023. You should all have a copy of that. So that date there at the bottom will need to be updated to March 6, 2023. And then on the very last page of that ordinance 474 is highlighted the word date. I need to know, before we do a second reading, we need to determine a date that this would be effective. So, if we were to have a second reading, next week after our public hearing on it, if you wanted to go in effect the next day, whether it be tonight or next time we have, or that second reading, I've got to have a date to put into that.
Any questions, comments from council? And Mr. Ford, do you have any other updated information you'd like to share with us and the public at this time?
I do not. I would just state that as Shane Sly has stated, this was drafted by Sarah Spruill, our counsel with Hainsworth Sinclair Boyd. I was not part of the drafting of this. I defer to her expertise on that. As far as the form of the ordinance goes, of course, the form of the ordinance is what she's most concerned with. The terms thereof are within the will of council.
Okay.
Mayor, currently this is wrote with the full amount of impact fees. If y'all choose to do something different, then we would adjust it between now and second reading.
Gotcha. Do you have any questions from council?
And again, Adam, I'm gonna ask one more time, if we did do something different, other than the full amount of the impact fee, that lesser amount still got to be made up by?
My understanding and my discussions with Sarah are that in the adoption of a impact fee in concert with a capital improvement plan, which is what is required by statute, if the impact fee does not fully fund the capital improvement plan, you must find a source of funding to make up the difference.
All the other questions? If not, I need a motion to approve first reading of ordinance 474.
Motion.
Got a motion? Second. Any further discussion? Hearing all in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Next on the agenda is impact fee ordinance 475, water and sewer impact fees. This is first reading. Mr. Sly.
Okay, this is the second section of that impact fee. This has to do with the water and sewer. The rates are the same, and much like the other one, the rates are still the same in the updated version as in the old version. The one from December, the rates are the same as the one that's in from yesterday. This here is for the water sewer. We're doing this ordinance under the 1080, which is not a true impact fee. It's more of a user fee or service fee. It has the same effects, but the allowance of the usage is a little easier for the town. And this come at the advice of the attorney, Ms. Spruill, as well.
And this comes with the same changes that are needed with the December 6th, 2022 date that's on page 2.
Yep.
In the middle, that needs to be updated to March 6th. I didn't see where it had the date listed.
We can add another line there to resemble the same as what was on the other one that says an effective date. This one here actually says this ordinance shall take effect upon the date of its adoption. Is what it has in 5, but we can actually change, put a date there if you want to do something different.
I'd say just for consistency purposes,
Okay,
have it worded the same.
okay.
Any questions, comments from council? If there are no questions or comments, need a motion to approve first reading of ordinance 475.
Motion.
Got a motion? Got a second, Mr. Baker. Any further discussion? If all in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Next on the agenda is ordinance 476. This is the second reading of the First Amendment audit policy. Mr. Sly.
Nothing's changed with this since the first reading. Everything is exactly the same. This is a standard policy by the municipal association. It's kind of what we already do, but this here actually puts an official policy in place for that.
Any questions, comments from council? If there are none, we have a motion to approve second reading of ordinance 476. Got a motion? And a second? Hancock. Any further discussion? Hearing none, in favor, raise your right hand. And then next on the agenda is the approval of change order number 3 for the SRF project. Mr. Sly.
All right, the SRF project, change order number 3, I just changed it. Okay, change order number 3, it was, last month you contingently approved it based on contingencies. Well, I've come to find out that there are no contingencies. On the previous change order 2, the engineer, his statement was, yes, I feel like there is some contingency funds for the project. Well, we're over budget on the project. As of change order 3, it says that we're $32,000 over budget on the project. Now, that's going to change with the next 2 that come up, because I've got change order 4 and change order 5 immediately behind this. So we are over budget. There is no contingency money, and we're going to have to pay for this out of pocket. Change order 3 is, the second page of it there's a description of what happened and why they needed that change order while laying the 8-inch pipe in the alley. On item number 4, they came across 5 different sewer laterals that had to be tied into the 8-inch sewer main. The contract had 4 of these. They're fine with changing the original contract price for the additional sewer laterals to be installed at $5,600 each, which is the amount that was in the original contract. So they had 1 additional is what it boils down to on change order 3. I have come up with a way to pay for these. As far as, the funds that we have. I'm looking at some of the American Rescue money that we have left over, and that'll also go into the next 2, so that, we have the money to be able to make these change orders and finalize, because I think this is the end of this contract. I think they're finished with the work.
So when you net this out between, I'm jumping ahead, but so when you look at change order 3, 4, and 5, once you net those out, one of them,
The very last one will have the total amount of,
still to the positive.
well, we're still over by $26,000. If you look at change order 5, the very last one there, we're over, the new contract amount is $26,114 over the grant amount.
That's for all of them.
That's for all 3 change orders combined together. Now, change order 4, actually adds, gives you a decrease in the, by $10,000.
That work's been completed.
Yes, sir.
So you just need a approval basically for change order 3, 4, and 5, and then we'll use possibly the ARP funding.
Yes, sir.
To fund it. Okay.
And I don't know if you need to do it as 3 separate approvals, since it's on there as 3, but we've got it.
I see, yeah, we're doing independent.
Okay.
Any questions from council before we go ahead and take a vote on change order 3?
And all this, Shane, it just, all the repairs just cost more than,
So there, like with 3, they found another sewer connection that needed to be done, that was not, they had not originally calculated into the cost. So that was an increase, and that's some of what every one of these are. So 3 was that. 4, they found some things that they didn't have to do, that they were in decent condition, so they deducted, and then about $10,400, and then on 5, they've got a whole list of stuff here, but they had to do a little bit of additional work to make it correct, make the job correct whenever they left it.
and that total project cost was,
The final contract amount for the contractor is $777,315. It's a little more than that with the fees for the engineer as well. It's closer to about 826, I think, 825, 917, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I guess what I was looking at a while ago is once you net out the differences between change orders 3, 4, and 5, it's a negative $545 between those 3 change orders.
Right.
So, okay. Any other questions, comments from council?
I do have a question. What's the ARP, like American Rescue, because what can that stuff be, what can that be used for?
We're going to have some more conversation on that here in a few minutes, but right now, before we have further conversation, the only thing it can be used for is infrastructure, right this second. Real infrastructure, and you can also use it for premium pay like we've done with the bonuses, but we do have a resolution here that's going to change some of that for us tonight.
To me, it just sounded like something like for fire, like police and stuff. That's why I didn't understand what that was. I was just asking a question.
Okay.
Clarification.
Any other questions, comments for change order 3? There are none, need a motion to approve change order 3 for the SRS project. Got Calvin with a motion. Got a second from Mr. Hutto. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Next on the agenda is change order number 4. Mr. Sly, if you want to provide commentary on this.
Change order 4 is a deduct of $10,400. They found 2 cores that did not have to be remade, and so they're deducting $10,400 from the contract price.
Any questions, comments from council? If there are none, need a motion to approve change order number 4. Got a motion?
Second.
Second, any further discussion? Hearing all in favor, raise your right hands. Unanimous. Next on the agenda is change order number 5 for the SRF project. Mr. Sly?
All right, and that one has a pretty lengthy list behind it. There's a little more asphalt they had to buy. Looks like they had to increase looks like most of it is in the asphalt. based on what I can see, it's increasing the amount of asphalt that they needed to finish putting it back the way they found it.
In the amount of $4,255. That's the change order, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Any questions, comments from council? If there are no questions, need a motion to approve change order number 5. Got a motion?
Sure.
Second, any further discussion? Hearing none, in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Next on the agenda is the water meter project update and change order. Mr. Fly.
So the change order has not come in. They've called me about a change order. They got a little bit behind because we got into the time needing to be, for water, meter billing. So we have not completely done that project yet, and there's possibly still a change order that we're gonna have to make. They're supposed to send it to me, the end of last week. That's why it's already on the agenda. I never did receive it, so I don't have the information for the change order at this time. But we're moving along with the process. I think there's about 200 homes on the next phase that they still needed to do.
This one is table this for now and bring it up at the next council meeting.
Yep, if I can get the information that I have for next.
Need a motion to table item 3 under new business, water meter project update and change order. Got a motion? Second, any further discussion? Hearing none, in favor, raise your right hand. Next on the agenda is the CT Grassware sewer repair bids. Mr. Fly.
So during the pipe bursting process there with that, where we just done those change orders, there was one business that did not get reconnected. Their sewer connection did not get reconnected because it is under their building, which is under a slab of concrete. We've reached out to several people to take a look at it, see what kind of price. Tried to even do it as an emergency item whenever it first happened. It didn't get done, so we're to the point, it's been so long that it's no longer an emergency item, but it still needs to be done. We published bids for this. We received one bid. We had a bid opening today at 2 o'clock. That one bid come from Edwards Refrigeration Incorporated for $8,700 to reconnect that sewer line. Now, that being said, Adam and I have been in contact about this sewer line, thinking, I don't know where he is on reading the contract, but he's reading through the contract to see if that should have been done by the original people. But we've put the said homes who own that building out of sewer for almost 4 months now, and I think we need to go ahead and get it fixed, and then we'll worry about going back to recoup our money if we need to at that time.
And I do not yet have an opinion on that contract. Quite candidly, that contract is about yay thick, and I just haven't been able to make it all the way through it yet, so.
Sir?
4 months.
Yeah, it was the first or second week of November, and I mean, so we're right around 5 months now.
And I haven't been reading the contract for 4 months.
No, he hasn't.
I've only been looking at the contract since last week.
Yeah.
Well, any other questions regarding the repair bid? If not, I need a motion to approve the repair bid, to award the contract to ERI in the amount of $8,700. Got a motion? We got a second? Any further questions, comments? Hearing all in favor, raise your right hand. Next on the agenda is the town policy change, sick bank resolution. Mr. Sly.
So the department heads have sat down and looked at some more policies like we've been doing all year long. And one of them is we think it'd be in the best interest of employees to offer a sick bank. We've modeled this over several different agencies. We've looked at, we looked Lancaster, Sherrall, Marlboro, I think we tried to get a couple more, but those were the three, and this is mostly modeled after Lancaster's. So there's a resolution here to adopt the sick bank, and the way to join the sick bank, the employee has to put up so many hours of sick leave to join the bank, and then continue giving every year unless the bank hits a certain amount, and at that time, it will stop collecting until such time that it goes below that. And there's also some safeguards in there to keep some abuse from happening, and has to be approved by the sick bank board, and that's defined in here as who all's on that. I've seen it other places, some of the other guys have seen it other places, and we've seen that it works really well, especially whenever you have somebody who is a loyal employee and something tragic happens in their life, whether it be some kind of major sickness or a traffic accident, and they're out for long periods of time. So we would like to adopt this sick bank policy. The last page also goes into, after they've exhausted the sick bank, if the employees want one last hurrah to try to help out their fellow employee, that they can go in, and that still has to go before the sick bank board before they do it. And they can donate some time to an employee if that employee's, really had a long drawn out sickness type thing.
How many days does that leave when we give you 2 days? How many days does that leave each individual?
So before they can actually join the sick bank, they have to have 40 hours of sick leave, and then they can give up to 16 hours. So that still leaves, them 3 full days if they've, no, they have to have 40 hours after they contribute to 16 hours. So they've got to have at least a week's worth of sick time before they can, left after they contribute to the 16 hours.
And it's a voluntary.
It is voluntary.
Yeah.
How long does it take to get those time?
They can have it within the first year, because they get 8 hours a month.
And I've seen it operated through the school system, and it works very well, especially for people who have not accumulated any sick leave time and have an emergency or whatnot. When they have to be out, then they can go to the sick leave bank and get time that they can be off. So it works well if it's managed well.
State uses the same thing.
I think we worked on this one about 4 weeks to put this policy together.
I think that's good.
Any questions, comments from council?
And this is in the form of a resolution, if you need me to read it, Mayor.
I'll leave it up to you if you want to read it.
I can read it out loud.
Go ahead.
A resolution to adopt a sick bank to attend to employees' need for paid time off during times of extended sickness if the employee elects to enroll. Whereas an employee occasionally have the need for additional paid time off due to unforeseen sickness, whereas the Pageland Town Administrator and department heads have reviewed the paid time off policies for the town employees and have seen a need to update the current policy, whereas the Pageland Town Administrator and department heads have created a policy that employees have the option to join or not at the employee's will to be allowed additional paid time off during the extended sickness. Whereas for an employee to join the Pageland Sick Bank, the employee must surrender to the sick bank a portion of his or her earned sick time for membership. Be it further resolved that the Pageland Town Council will establish the Pageland Employee Sick Bank policy for the use of employees who choose to join the Pageland Employee Sick Bank. Town Council has met, the Town Council in meeting duly called on the 7th day of March 2023 does hereby authorize the Town Administrator to apply these standards to the Town of Pageland Employee Handbook.
One more call. Any questions, comments from council? If not, I need a motion to approve the town policy for sick bank resolution 2023-0301. Need a motion from council.
Motion.
Got a motion from Mr. Hancock. You second, Mr. Hassad?
Yeah.
Second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, in favor, raise your right hand. And next on the agenda is the ARPA resolution, Mr. Sly.
So it's a conversation with Charlie Bruno on our American Rescue Plan. We can use what they call the standard, I'm looking for the word in here. Give me just a second. Standard allowance. The final rule allows recipients to determine the reduction in general revenue by applying the standard allowance of $10 million. So saying that you can use up to $10 million if you got that much. This allows for the funds to be used for government services. By adopting this resolution, I will have to go back and create a budget for the funds that we have. That is part of it. I have to establish a budget for it as well. But this allows us to use it for government fund options, or government fund items. This is what it allows us to use it for.
And just for council's information and public, Charlie Barron is the point of contact with the municipal association. He's a former administrator for Greenwood, I think
Yep. Yep.
Greenwood County, or for City of Greenwood.
Yep.
And now he's on staff with the municipal association, so.
So it just opens up our options on what we can.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So any questions, comments from council? If there are none, there's a motion to approve ARPA resolution 2023-03-02.
I'll make that.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a second? Any further discussion? Hearing none, in favor, raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Next on the agenda is the town judge appointment. Mr. Sly.
So I've spoken with Judge Miss Kelly. He says that it's time for his appointment to be reestablished by council, that he wishes to stay if it's the will of council. And some conversation that I had with him, he said that his term always ends in the month of March because he replaced the previous judge in the month of March. I'm asking council if y'all would consider reappointing him, but do it on a 22-month term to allow him to go back to the January term instead of in March. Because it's kind of an oddball place for it to be is in March.
This is a one-time occasion, 22 months to get it back on a
Right.
January cycle. So
Right.
there's nothing, okay.
And then it would fall on the January, that there is no council being sworn in.
And Mr. Ford, this is a will of council issue, not a, anything identified in statute, correct?
I haven't researched the term. I can do that to check behind everything, but nothing comes to mind that would be of any issue related to that.
All right. Any questions, comments from council? If there are not any questions or comments, I need a motion to approve Judge Bob Kelly to reappoint him as the town judge. And this particular term will be on for 22 months, which will end in January of 2025, correct?
Yes, I think so.
January 2025.
Yep.
So I need a motion to reappoint Judge Bob Kelly as our town judge.
Motion.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand.
Did you get your second?
Baker, wasn't it?
Who's Mr. Baker? Okay.
Next on the agenda is the insurance resolution. Mr. Sly?
All right, this here is a resolution that we were supposed to have done back in November, and it kept slipping through the cracks, or through the paperwork on my desk, be the easiest way to say that. Is for the municipal association for our general liability insurance and auto insurance with $1,000 deductibles. This common thing that's done every year.
Any questions, comments from council? not, I need a motion to approve the insurance resolution as listed in your packet. Got a motion from Hancock? Got a second. Any further discussion? Get all in favor, raise your right hand. Next on the agenda is the litter cleanup. Mr. Sly.
So it's that time of year that we do the litter cleanup in town, go around and try to pick up where people throw trash out on the side of the roads and try to make the place look a little bit better. Last several years, we've done it in March of every year, and we'd like to continue that tradition. I've already had Stuart reach out to Jane Pig on picking up some bags and pickers and some gloves and some vests, and because as you know, she's on the board for Palmetto Pride. So we've got him getting some of that. He's already requested the dumpster from the county. The dates that I was looking at, we thought about doing maybe a week-long type pickup and then a organized pickup on the 24th and 25th. So here's what I'm proposing, is we start the Pageland cleanup on the 17th of March and run it through the 25th. If somebody needs bags to pick up litter on the side of the road, they come by Town Hall, we hand them some bags, hand them some supplies if they need them to clean up. And then on the 24th and 25th, we do an organized litter cleanup from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. on both days. And this, the other side of that is, I'd like to reach out to a couple of local organizations and maybe some industries and see if they'd be willing to pick a day or come help us with some of that, volunteer some of their time to send some folks out and help clean up.
Schools.
We can do the schools too.
Football team and,
Oh, yeah.
FFA,
Oh, yeah, they'll get.
Beta Club.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm fine with these days, what you got listed here. Give the opportunity to get the word out, and
Cover more ground that way.
that's right.
With that many days, we can cover a lot more ground.
right. Well, and then it's an opportunity for somebody who can't be here on that Friday or Saturday to do it, but wants to participate, they can come by and do it some during the week as well. And, if we see the bags on the side of the road, we'll get Public Works to go by and pick up the bags and get them in the dumpster, and we'll try to keep account of what goes in the dumpster as well.
What were those dates again?
17th through the 25th.
Yeah, 17th through the 25th.
And we'll get some more information out and put it, share it on Facebook and through the local media and county and, are there any questions, comments regarding litter cleanup?
Now, will that coincide with our yearly?
No, that'll be next month.
That'll be in April.
Yep.
It won't put too much on Public Works.
So that being said, I can go ahead and formally approve this. We need a motion to approve the litter cleanup date from March 17th through March 25th. From council.
But if you're gonna reach out to groups and individuals, you might try to encourage them to select a date.
Right. Well, what I was going to do was trying to do a formally organized on that second Friday and Saturday. And then leave the other parts of the week open for if anybody wanted to do it, or if a group wanted to say, hey, we're going out today to do it, type of thing.
Yeah, well, they're probably gonna be open too if you leave it open.
I know Saturday that the band picked up trash out.
They did.
And we've still got some supplies, so if you know somebody planning on going picking some stuff up beforehand, to have them call me. I still have bags and stuff. And you're picking it up off the side of the road, we got bags, we can go ahead and put that in. Don't go buy, tell them not to go buy bags, because we still have some supplies.
Any questions, comments? John, no question, comment, needs a motion to approve the litter cleanup dates listed from March 17th through March 25th.
Motion.
Got a motion? second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Next on the agenda is the South Plant VFD replacement.
All right, so this VFD, I've already given the go-ahead to replace it because under emergency powers, because it controls the lift station moving sewage into the plant itself. This VFD, and that's all it is a controller. It's a pretty large controller switch there. We started having some problems with it, got an electrician to come out, take a look at it. It was, he looked in there and said the circuit board was fried on it. Don't know why it was fried. I don't know if it was bad power or just a surge, or I don't know the answer to that. But we do know that it did fry that board and cost us to the tune of $9,240. You should have a copy of the invoice there of what that was. So that did cause an overflow of sewer, and we reported that immediately to DHEC whenever that happened.
Based on our purchasing policy, when he uses his authority for emergencies, this is just reported to us as information, not a formal improvement. So, next on the agenda, any questions, comments before we move on? Next on the agenda is the administrator's report, Mr. Slide.
All right, the financial review, the financial statements have been provided like they normally are, and also there's a copy of the fireman report up here that Sherry provides every month. We've been working on the hardware store. Stewart's had his guys up there today working on the hardware store. Kelly's been involved with the hardware store. We're soon going to be ready to auction off some items. They've been putting some stuff on pallets and getting all that cleaned up, so we're soon going to be ready to move to the next phase of the hardware store. So that's coming along a good bit. They've been quite busy in there. They've got that back room almost halfway cleaned out. But it looks a ton different today when I walked in there compared to what it did last week. So they've been busy bees down there. I think the Easter egg hunt is April 1st, is that correct? April 8th. April 8th. April 8th, the Easter egg hunt will be coming up. Just put that on your agenda. We'd like to thank the volunteers who've helped clean up in Moore Park. I know that they've been doing that several weekends now and in the afternoons and stuff. We appreciate all the help that they've given down there. We just completed some sign-ups for softball and t-ball, so that those sports will be starting relatively soon. Don't forget your ethics report. It's due on March 31st. If anybody needs any guidance, call me. I'll try to help walk you through it. I won't do it for you, but I'll walk you through it. Next month, we were supposed to do pictures this month. It kind of got away from me. It's been a busy month. We'll plan to do pictures for council next month and also department heads. Dean, you dress up next month. Tommy, dress up next month.
Wow.
So the only other thing I have here, Stewart's got a demonstration of a side loader trash can coming up. I think it is March the 16th. I'll firm up that date with him. Amy is going to bring a side loading garbage truck here, show them how it works and that type of thing. Just kind of give them an idea. Not trying to buy right now. He's just looking at it and seeing what I'll do and try to see if that would be something that may help save on labor and safety. Prevent more accidents and that type of thing. And that's all I have.
Any questions, comments from council?
The taste of Pageland, the 29th.
Of April? I think so.
Is it April 29th? I do want to recognize Mr. Sly. He was recently attended the South Carolina Emergency Management Association, and he was nominated and selected as treasurer for the South Carolina Emergency Management Association. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Any questions, comments? If there are none, need a motion. We'll go to the next item, which is executive session. We have 3 items listed there. Need a motion to go into executive session. Then we'll take about 2 or 3 minute restroom recess, and then go into conference room. Need a motion to go into executive session. Got a motion? Second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand.
Yeah, stand up.
Is it okay?